Well, let's go back to the news that the UN and the International Red Cross have suspended the transport of humanitarian aid supplies in Syria after a relief convoy was attacked in an airstrike near the city of Aleppo. The Syrian Civil Defense, the volunteers also known as the White Helmets, were at the scene shortly after the attack. One of them describes the scene.
The warehouse of the Syrian Crescent. This is the warehouse of the Syrian Crescent. Abroad this house were more than 20 vehicles, 20 trucks full of food and flour and medicine and pampers and blanket. Today is 19 September of 2016. At the evening, exactly the evening, 7:30 o'clock, the regime helicopter targeted this place with 4 barrels. The Urim Civil Defense Center respond to this place in order to ambulance the injuries. But the regime also targeted this place again. The refugee agency, the UN refugee agency. This is full of blanket from the refugee agency, UN refugee agency. This is builders. You see, pampers as a aid, pampers aid from the UN to the Syria Crescent in order to be distributed to the people, to the displaced, to the needed. So the regime and Russia target this place and kill the staff of the Syrian Crescent, as you see, medicine on the ground. Syria Crescent, bodies on the ground.
Earlier I spoke to Save the Children's Syria director Sonia Kush, who described the scale of the damage.
Last night was a really tragic night for the citizens of Aleppo. In addition to the aid convoy being hit, our partners inside Aleppo City reported up to 100 airstrikes within a period of 5 hours. They said the hospitals could not keep up with all of the injured civilians coming in, that there were fires burning throughout the city. So all in all, between these two events, it's just a tragic end to what was a hopeful period to have a ceasefire.
So what is your view then of what the situation is now and whether anything can be salvaged?
Well, we have heard that the Red Cross has suspended convoys. We have heard that the UN has suspended aid convoys, and the ramifications of this are really significant because this also means that aid is not getting into besieged areas around Damascus. There is a meningitis outbreak in Madaya right now. People are desperately waiting for medicines to treat people, and they're not going to get those anytime soon. So for us, this is a significant development that could really have long-term effects.
And obviously your charity is particularly focused on the needs of children in Syria. What are their needs right now?
They have urgent medical needs. Several need to be evacuated to treat injuries. There are a lot of psychological needs that children have. You know, imagine living through a night where there are 100 airstrikes, what that does to strike fear into children. So we really need to get to these children and give them more sustained programs to help them recover from what has been a very devastating conflict. Unfortunately, that's just becoming harder and harder.
What is able to actually get to them?
Well, it really depends on the area. Obviously, Aleppo is completely tightly under siege right now, and it doesn't look like UN aid will be getting in anytime soon. We do work with very brave Syrian organizations that are based within those areas. So under difficult circumstances, we continue to support the running of schools, the running of clinics, as long as they have supplies. So, you know, it's a matter of storing supplies when you can get them in and making them last as long as you can.
Are children actually dying because of the fact that they are not getting what they require?
I believe, yes, that is the case. We saw the scenes that came out of Madaya in January where children were at the brink of starvation. We have had cases of children dying In Madaya, the mental health effects that I spoke about earlier have been very significant because this area has been under siege for 15 months. We've had cases of 6 children committing suicide because they have just completely lost hope of a positive future for themselves, and they resorted to suicide. So yes, children are dying because they can't get the aid they need.
And how old are those children who have killed themselves?
Those children were in the ages of between 15 to 20 years old. There were another 6 young adults between 20 and 30 that also committed suicide because their lives aren't progressing. They can't get jobs, they can't get married, they can't start families. You know, none of those options are available to them. So it's really unfortunate that they're resorting to suicide.
That was Sonia Kush talking to me earlier from Save the Children.